This video is about the new moon and solar eclipse on the 12th of August with insight and invitations from the I Ching and the Tarot. So the theme for this new moon solar eclipse is very much of letting go, of introspection, the energy of a snake shedding its skin. So I recently made a video that is all about the themes of eclipses, and I will link that to this video. So I'm not going to go so deeply into eclipse themes today, but just mention again that when it comes to eclipses and even being in eclipse season, about a month before, definitely a week before, and up to 6 months after an eclipse, we can still see very definite things that are linked to the eclipses and what is mirrored to us and unfolding for us with that energy. So the themes related to eclipses are sudden changes of direction, themes of beginnings and endings, cycles starting and ending, and faster evolution. During eclipse season, it can feel like things are moving much faster in a certain direction, and themes unfold in our lives that really allow us to go in a certain direction that maybe we would not have gone in before. So this new moon solar eclipse will be at 20 degrees of Leo, and it happens for most of us on the 12th of August, some places in the world on the 13th of August, and where I'm at in South Africa, it's happening at 19:37 in the evening. Now, of course, if you have placements around about 20 degrees of Leo, planets or points, or even 5 or 10 degrees either side, and also in other houses that are aspected by the solar eclipse, you will feel this more strongly. So this will have very much an individual effect on each of us, depending on the house that this is happening in. But all of us will feel this to a certain degree. And the theme that I want to mention in just one word for this solar eclipse is the word reset. You know, when the planets, the sun, the earth and the moon interact in these eclipses, what happens is that for a while, for a few hours, the light is disturbed. So if we look at light, it is literally waves of photons that enter the planet, that enter our bodies. And so the disturbance of that light that is happening onto our planet, it creates a reset point where the light is stopped for a while, and then we can awaken to see things in new ways. And it's almost like if you look at electricity, it's that on and off switch, you know, like referring to one of my old favorite series, the IT Crowd. Switching it off and on again can sometimes bring a realization, a new beginning, a whole new cycle that we would not have been in if it wasn't for that switching off and on again. So there's definitely that energy that comes into the whole meaning and experience of eclipses. So what we have here is at the time of this solar eclipse, which is mostly visible in Greenland, Iceland, some parts of Europe. So it's very much visible in the Northern Hemisphere, but energetically felt by all of us. And so the sun and the moon are at 20 degrees of Leo. And then there's such emphasis on the sign of Leo at this time. We also have Jupiter at 9 degrees of Leo, and we have Mercury at 5 degrees of Leo. So you can already see with all of these energies present, we are dealing with mental energy when it comes to Mercury. Our thought patterns can really be rewritten at the time of the solar eclipse. Belief system, long-standing belief systems can be let go of, and we can write new neural pathways with this energy and Mercury being involved in this. And then with Jupiter, it can really expand this energy. And Jupiter is so related to wisdom and philosophies of how we see life. So you can see that this can go very, very deeply in terms of specifically wisdom, belief systems, philosophies, neural pathways in our brains, how we think, how we communicate. And this can bring real change just on that level. And then, of course, we're also going to have the houses that this plays out for us in individually in our charts. And what makes this even deeper and more transformational is that from a sign point of view, we are having an opposition between the Sun, Moon, Jupiter, and Mercury, and they are in Leo, and they're all opposing Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So there's a sense here that we can be dealing with shadow work. We can be dealing with very, very deep subconscious patterns that can be shifting for us at this time, letting go of long-standing things in ourselves, even ancestrally and for different lifetimes. That is how deep Pluto takes a transformation that is available for us at this time. And transformations that are linked to Pluto are not necessarily easy and a walk in the park, but they are necessary, and Pluto can bring us the depth of transformation that only that energy of Pluto can show us. That is really like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, where we are completely different when we look back on the transformation that we have gone through. So there are all of these beautiful aspects happening at the time of the solar eclipse, which you can see in this chart. We have two kites forming in the sky. When it comes to the sign of Leo, there is so much here in terms of our personal experience. And this is another thing that's very much available at the time of the solar eclipse, because Leo is the personal. It is who we show up as an individual in the world. And with Pluto in Aquarius, that is how we fit into society, or how we don't fit in, how unique we are, and how we need to become stronger in the sense of our uniqueness that we are able to reveal in the world at this time. We have all of these beautiful aspects happening in the sky, and we actually have two kite formations. Now, kite formations are incredible because they consist of trines, sextiles, and then the center of the kite, there's also an opposition. So there's a lot of availability for change and real deep transformation, and also a point of challenge between those two planets that are opposing each other, where we can feel more tension in how we are changing and evolving at this time. Now, the one kite that we are seeing in the sky at this time is between Venus at 6 Libra, Uranus at 5 Gemini, Neptune at 5 Aries, and Pluto at 4 Aquarius. And the point of this kite is pointing to the planet Neptune. Now, with all of these aspects involved, you can see all of the energies that come together here. We have Venus that deals with our relationships, a relationship to ourselves, to God, to each other, our relationship to creativity and money. We have Uranus, which in itself is that eclipse energy that brings instant changes of direction and insights. And we have Pluto that I've already mentioned that brings this incredible depth of transformation. And then we have Neptune, which opens us up to that sense of cosmic oneness and love. Now, the kite formation is mostly a flowing, harmonious aspects. And in this specific kite, we have this opposition between Venus and Neptune. So there is a sense here that at the time of this solar eclipse, we can feel a tension between that sense of Venus where we are dealing with the physical world, how we need to show up in relationships, in love, in dealing with our money. And then we're also dealing with these large cosmic concepts of universal love that Neptune can bring. And dealing with that paradox and contradiction of what it actually is to be a spiritual being that is living in this physical realm. So that is the one kite that has that opposition between Venus and Neptune. The point points towards Neptune. So that really tells us that there is capacity at the time of the solar eclipse to really move into a greater sense of what we understand about love in a much larger capacity. And holding that paradoxical tension of not getting lost in that, but being able to bring that into our bodies and into how we function every day in terms of how we love and how we relate in the world. The card that I received for this kite that is forming between Venus, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto is the Eight of Swords. And this card has the energy of self-imposed limitations. That is the main invitation for us to look at the time of this eclipse, is where are we mentally, because this is a sword card, in our minds, in our thought patterns, in how we have been thinking about our lives. Where are we imposing restrictions on ourselves that may actually be very deep and subconscious? So there's a need here for us to do a little bit of digging, maybe a bit of shadow work, a bit of investigation, to dig into where we may be bringing anxiety into our lives by the way that we think, by the way that we have come to see the world, by the mental patterns that we have maybe accepted that can happen so easily with the mind. So the invitation here is to connect to that sense of Neptune as well. Yes, identify the thought patterns, find ways to let them go, whatever work you want to do, energetic work, EFT, emotional freedom technique, is such a beautiful way to let go of those mental thought patterns that no longer serve us. And then we can really tap into that bigger picture that Neptune can show us. There's something here about letting go of the small parts of ourselves, the mental things that are holding us back, leaving that behind. That's a part of the skin that we need to shed at this time. And then tapping into that wider way of seeing. And then for the other kite, the one that points towards Mercury. Now this is the kite between Venus, Mercury, Uranus, and Pluto, that has the opposition of Pluto and Mercury in this kite. And for this, another theme of resurrection, rebirth, shedding the skin, the Judgment card. And the Judgment card is so apt for like a solar eclipse because it is a major arcana card. So there's a lot of energy available here for big change. This card is really that invitation for self-reflection, a sense of connecting to that energy of rebirth, of awakening, and sometimes even receiving a bit of a wake-up call. The symbology of the angel blowing the trumpet, it's sometimes, we will literally have an experience or an insight that really awaken us to what has transpired and awaken us to a totally new way of being in the world. So the invitation here is to really stay open to that sense of shedding the old. The symbology of this card is so much about waking up from the dead. There may be parts of us that have been dead for a long time that we felt and that we experienced as literally disappearing from our lives, that can be completely reawakened at this time. So there's a beautiful energy here, even though some parts of this could feel uncomfortable because we are dealing with this Pluto and Mercury opposition. But the possibility of great transformation and seeing things that we can awaken and transform is really alive for us at this time. And then there is also an aspect that is happening with Mars that has just recently moved into the sign of Cancer. And Chiron has now started its retrograde at the start of Taurus. So at the time of this new moon solar eclipse, we've got a sextile happening between Chiron in Taurus and Mars in Cancer. And this can really help us to release as well. A sextile is a much more subtle energy. Sextiles often asks of us to make a choice. When it comes to oppositions and trines, the energies are more loud in the sense that we are kind of swept away into the current of what wants to unfold. When it comes to a sextile, it's usually some kind of choice point. So at the time of the solar eclipse between Chiron and Mars, because this is a sextile, it's a more flowing aspect. Yes, it is more subtle, but with Mars, we can really use that energy again to come back to the theme of this, to let go. Mars can help us to cut away those things that we no longer need. With Chiron, we can literally cut away, let go, release wounds that have been with us for a long time, that can bring such a sense of transformation here. So we can take action as well on our healing path when it comes to this sextile between Mars and Chiron. Now, the overall energy of this new moon solar eclipse is very interesting because yes, it is a reset point. Yes, it is all about letting go, shedding skin. It is about renewal. We've seen the Judgment card that is literally about rebirth, waking up to a new life. And the card that I received for the overall energy of this whole chart for this day is the Hermit. So there's a lovely energy here and an invitation for all of us with the Hermit showing up for introspection. A new moon is often about being more inward. So the invitation is here for self-reflection, for connecting to that inner wisdom, for bringing that sense of our inner light and our inner knowing to a part of our lives that may need this sense of wisdom at this moment. It is about allowing yourself some time with this moon cycle, and at the time of the solar eclipse, to spend time alone, to connect to yourself, to be with your inner wisdom, to shine your own light in the world. And this can all be a part of this transformation and shedding that we are going through at this time. And then lastly, the I Ching guidance that I received for this just plays into this theme as well. Hexagram 49 I received. It reads either welcoming change, or in the more older translations, the name is actually revolution. And I actually personally love the word revolution, because revolution has such a strong sense of change and an energy of like wanting to change something in our lives, connected to that word revolution. And of course, this can be an inner or an outer revolution, as we've seen with the planets and also with the cards showing up at the time of this reading. There's a lot of work we can do at this time, specifically related to mental energy. So we can really bring so much change in terms of belief systems at this time. Back to hexagram 49. So it reads a radical change and renewal. It is like a snake shedding its skin. You can act with confidence. This begins a whole new cycle of time. This is how strong this energy is. Letting go of old motives, of old sorrows, of old memories and old quarrels. So you can see that this is related to our thinking and to our emotions, memories, what quarrels, what we may have said in the past. All of these things can be released. It says, let yielding and serving connect you to spirit, and resonance connect you to the right people. So this is really, really lovely. There's a sense here of things transforming in such a way that we can connect deeper to our service in the world, and we can also connect deeper to who we are resonating with at this time. So I love the energy of the solar eclipse. Solar eclipses are like wild cards. We've got Uranus and Pluto involved in here. So we may go through some very deep themes that we are dealing with at this time. I wish you a really beautiful solar eclipse. Yes, these energies can feel intense, specifically, you know, if you look at where they are happening in your personal chart. Some of us will be more affected than others, but there is such a beautiful energy here for renewal, for letting go, for introspection, for real transformation. It's all available to us at this time. I would like to invite you to book some personal sessions with me. I can help you, guide you into seeing many different themes, patterns, and bring a sense of what is unfolding for you in a very perfect way at this time in your life, and really tap into the things that are really important to you right now to see and to work with. And I'm also inviting you to my monthly Moon Wisdom Lab. The next one will start on the 11th of August, right before the new moon on the 12th. And so please find all of the links for that below and tap into that. Thank you so much for being here. Please share with others if this resonates with you, and leave your comments. I love to hear what is unfolding in your life and how these energies are showing up for you in your chart. I will see you again soon.